Hi, I'm Angel, and I'm about to review the Cloverfield Paradox. Netflix and Paramount teamed up with a little production help from J.J. Abrams to produce this 2018 sci-fi space thriller horror movie. This is supposed to be like a prequel to the movie Cloverfield that came out in 2008. Also occurs in the same universe as 10 Cloverfield Lane. All of these are part of the same story universe, if you will, and I saw all three. This movie is a prequel and it's supposed to offer answers, and that is one thing that I really appreciate. It's refreshing. I don't think you have to watch Cloverfield before watching the Cloverfield Paradox, but it does kind of help. But all you need to know is that Cloverfield is a movie about there seems to be monsters on Earth and they're destroying New York. So the Cloverfield Paradox, it was fun. It's not the best movie, it's far from the worst. It reminded me of the movie Life, which of course also reminds me of the movie Alien. We have some same almost homage type scenes because you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen Alien and you watch this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And in some cases, this could also be a prequel to the movie The Mist, which arguably could exist in the same universe. And it reminded me of a whole episode of Fringe, but better production quality, which is why I saw J.J. Abrams and I was like, oh yeah, My advice is don't take this movie seriously and you'll have a good time. So we're dealing with an advanced society, technologically speaking. There is an energy crisis on Earth. They're gonna send the space station up and launch this, Large Hadron Collider or energy producing beam thing. I didn't understand the science behind it, but basically it's supposed to help send energy to Earth and unleash an unlimited supply of energy. In classic horror fashion, we have a harbinger of death that appears in the beginning and warns everyone. This effort could have catastrophic impacts. It could open portals to other dimensions. It could unleash monsters. It could change space, time as we know it. But do they listen? No, he's a French scientist, wink. So they dismiss it. But it wouldn't be fun if he was wrong, right? I appreciated the opening credit sequence. It was unusual. We don't usually see a time lapse in a credit sequence. Clever use of that time, and it gets us where we need to go. It shows us that this is huge what they're trying to do. The stakes are high and it's not easy. It's supposed to be a 6-month mission, ends up being almost 2 years. I love how everyone speaks Mandarin on the ship just for Tam, and Tam doesn't speak any other language it seems, but she kind of understands, but she doesn't speak. Fine. And speaking of the cast, I'd say everyone did a really good job. No one was terrible and no one was Oscar worthy, but everyone did what they're supposed to do in a horror movie, which is be scared, be tense, and scramble. Now, if you're like me, all it takes is for people to be in space for a movie to be a horror movie, okay? Slight claustrophobia means that just the idea of being stuck somewhere with a limited amount of oxygen and food supplies, that's enough to be scary. But this movie takes it so much further. First of all, we have a whole sequence. I don't think this is spoiling anything. They lost Earth. They are searching for Earth. That's not something you lose so easily, so it was kind of comical but kind of scary. Hello, I'm in space and I don't know where Earth is. It's space. You look out, there's nothing blocking your view. What do you mean there's no more Earth in sight? Where are we? But then they added screeching in the hallways, possibility of creatures. Then they threw in a power outage. They had to throw in missing piece of a ship. What do you mean there's a piece missing to the ship? What? You got your creepy crawlies under the skin, so for those who don't like that, that's a thing. We've got a drifting eyeball, but that was in the trailer and I can't. Things like that with the eyes, I can't. And then the ship is alive at a point, like it tries to eat someone? Like, what is going on? As if these elements aren't enough, we also have water. Our friend becomes our enemy. And how do you drown and freeze at the same time? Ooh, we even have creepy stop motion. And I don't know if you agree with me, but stop motion was huge in, I'd say, mid-90s, early 90s. It was kid cartoons, but they were creepy. Great use of stop motion and magnets. So my pro tip would be to you, don't get attached to any characters. We have a cameo, we have an appearance from Thing from the Addams Family, and actually a great explanation as to what Thing is and why it operates the way it does. Hamilton is our main character, played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and I love Gugu. She is like one of the most beautiful women in the world. And she's mixed, so Sister. So Hamilton's husband, Michael, played by Roger Davies, is back on Earth, and with him we have the makings of The Last of Us, the movie, basically. Predictably, things on Earth have gone cray-cray, and he finds a wandering child, and he lost a daughter and a son. And now he has this child to take care of in a post-apocalyptic world where no one knows what's going on exactly, and there are monsters. I was surprised that it took the crew some time to figure out what was happening, and that we're dealing with alternate dimensions and realities and loopy things of this nature, because first of all, aren't we in an advanced technological society? I'm pretty sure that sci-fi is also pretty advanced, and this space crew is pretty smart. They've probably come across different theories. Secondly, the Harbinger of Death did predict this. So my first inclination when things started to go wonky on the ship was obviously something happened dimensional wise. And also I just wanted to mention, boom, sure, we have a German character, and apparently Germany is wreaking havoc again on this earth at this moment in time. But I do feel bad for Germans, because I feel like they're still going to be portrayed as possibly villains in movies. And I'd say at this point, like, let's leave Germany alone. Can't we just make it like Singapore or something? Can it be some other random country? I mean, real talk, it should have been America. They'd be dropping bombs on people like willy-nilly. Among all the fear that I experienced during this movie, there are emotional notes in the movie. And there's a moment where Ava and a character called Mina, played by Elizabeth Debicki, they have a back and forth, and there's a reveal, and I did tear up at that moment, but I'll talk more about it in the spoiler segment of this review. Then let's just say there comes a moment where there is betrayal, major betrayal, and that's when the movie stops being interesting. I think that it had a good pace going, then the end just kind of womp 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 and starts to feel long. It just stops being interesting when the humans are the ones wreaking havoc, you know? So overall, as I said, if you don't take this movie seriously and you enjoy horror movies, you enjoy space dramas, and you enjoy the Cloverfield universe, I think you're gonna enjoy this movie. It's not the best, as I said, but it is fun, so do not take it seriously. Now I'm gonna go into the spoiler segment. You've been warned. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think? Love to hear from you. Click on the like button, subscribe to Music Game News if you haven't already, turn on that notification bell if you did subscribe so that you get informed whenever a new video drops. As I said, I teared up when Ava learned that her family is still alive in this alternate universe. And I think that she kind of took a big leap in making the assumption that alternate Ava would be taking as many risks as she did. And especially at this point in the story where we were still under the impression that alternate Schmidt was a traitor and working with Germany to sabotage this mission. So I thought, okay, but Schmidt isn't that way, so these characters could be different in this reality. They might think differently, they might make different choices. So her whole excuse of going down there to save Ava from herself, well, maybe she doesn't need it because she's not like you. But then we kind of learn later that, here's a pro tip for those who are about to embark upon space travel and time travel. Just don't interfere. Don't interfere with anything. It doesn't ever go well in theory. So why would it go well in reality? Then there was that moment when Schmidt was talking to Mina and trying to reassure her that he wasn't a traitor. The look that Mina gave Schmidt, everything in my head started to shift. I was like, oh, wait a minute. This chick looks German. And how do we know that alternate Schmidt was the problem on this ship? How come all of the other crew members went on that escape module that crashed on the alternate Earth, but she is still here? Because when the two universes collided and the two space stations collided, the other crew members should have been there too, technically. But no, they had already left. So maybe she's the traitor? But here's where things actually get way more complicated, and I really didn't understand what was going on. Mina does become a traitor, but I didn't understand if she was now being a traitor or she had sabotaged the mission to begin with, because now it seems like she wanted to kill them to get this energy hadron collider thingy mabob to work to get energy to her planet. Then she couldn't have been the traitor, then maybe Schmidt was the traitor. Things got really vague at that moment, and they could have done a better job at explaining who in fact was the traitor in their space station. I also think that Mina wasn't panicked enough and indecisive enough to be doing what she was doing, because she kind of explained it as, I have to kill you three to save billions of people on my planet because you have what I need. But she was operating like a typical movie villain in her calm and cold exterior, walking around with such confidence and assurity, when I felt that the character that she portrayed until then had more emotion and a little more heart. So you would have seen someone a little more reluctant to pull the trigger, a little more nervous and frantic and screaming at them like, please don't make me do this. I don't want to do this, but I have to do this, you know. Then it would have been a lot more believable and more interesting to see her struggle with herself in getting rid of these people to save her planet. But it was just like, flip the switch. I'm gonna save my planet. You must be eliminated. And that's what contributed to it not being an interesting ending. And then the ending with Michael screaming on the phone, tell them to go back and not come back. Like, what? So tell them to stay in space and die in space? Are you insane, Michael? What kind of a suggestion is that? Oh, hey, you came back from an alternate dimension. Oh, almost everyone on the crew is dead? Okay. Well, you know what? We suggest you stay up there and just spend the rest of your days floating in space until you run out of supplies, because down here things ain't going too well. Bye-bye. Click. Really? There you have it, my review of the Cloverfield Paradox. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm M. Angel here at the MGN space station, signing off. Cheers.